Welcome to Yes Also. I'm Suzi Barrett. My guest today is Christina Anthony. You know her as one of the stars of the ABC show Mixed-ish, and she just finished a national tour of Clue, where she played Miss Scarlet. In the improv world, she's an alum of the Second City Chicago, where she spent 3 reviews writing and performing on the ETC stage. Christina is one of those amazingly well-rounded improvisers that brings such an acting talent to the stage, and she shares some really great insights in here about how she accesses characters and creates real, believable characters and relationships on stage. We also go pretty deep on the topic of cultural authenticity in sketch and improv. And in part 2, she hits a hilarious story about her casting process for Mixed-ish and how she used improv on set in the show. Part 2 of this episode and all of our episodes is available by becoming a subscriber at yesalso.supercast.com, where you'll also get automatic access to our Q&A episodes and bonus episodes and discounts for online improv workshops, among other perks. If you don't have $8 but you want to support the pod, we appreciate you. Head over to YouTube and you can subscribe to us for free, and that'll help us out a lot. When you're done with this episode, you can check out some amazing pictures of Christina from throughout her improv and TV career. That's at our Instagram at YesAlsoPod. And speaking of Christina, here she is. Christina, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for accepting my invitation.
Wait, you invited me? I thought I invited myself. I thought I asked you.
No, I think, I don't know. I feel like we did a show together over a year ago at the Lyric. And I was like, I have this new improv pod. I would love to have you come on sometime. And I kind of mentioned it there. And then maybe you were the one who circled back later.
Yeah.
But I remember being Christina's a perfect Second City person to get in there. And we have a weird intersection of playing Family Feud together.
Yes, I was going to say, I met you. So we don't know each other super well, for those of you that are taking notes, but I met you at one of the highest moments of my life. I hope to have more high moments.
Yes, one of many.
Yes, but yeah, it was so not adversarial. I hate that it's called Family Feud.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were on the Family Feud against each other.
Yes.
And I knew who you were. I was like, I don't think she knows who I am. And I think you might have said that. Have we met? Because I was like, I know everything about you.
You're like, you live at 1357 Bluebird Lane.
No, the reason why I knew who you were was because we had auditioned for a television show. And I just, my people were just hyping me up. They're like, you're so perfect for this. It's she's a fun mom and she's super cool. And it's an improv-based television show. And it's right in your wheelhouse. Students love you, children love you, you like kids. It's going to be so fun. It's going to be so great. Comedy. And I'm like, yeah, this is great. And then they were like, they went another direction. And I'm like, And usually I do not do this. But I was like, I got to see who this woman is. And the show finally came out. Can I say what it is?
Yeah, of course.
I mean, we haven't received any kind of promotional compensation, but
it was. We will.
Okay,
we're gonna mail this VHS tape in to Walt Disney Studios and demand payment. Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, so I think it was called Let's Roll With It.
Just roll with it.
Just roll with it. Okay. And I watched the show and I loved it, and I was like, oh my gosh, I love her. You are just perfect.
Oh, thank you.
And so, but then
you would have been great too.
Yeah, but you know what? That wasn't my blessing, because listen to this.
Okay.
Probably a little while after that, I booked a television show at Disney myself on ABC. Which is how we came to then become adversaries on the Family Feud.
Say your show, Mixed-ish. It's no small project. This is huge. It's the spinoff of Blackish.
Yes.
Huge show.
Yeah.
Very funny.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. And I was also, I was only improviser on the show. Gary Cole was on it, huge comedian. But it was such a great experience to stretch out and be around people who were just like, how are you doing that? you're coming up with different ideas. And I was like, oh, I still got my chance to improvise on television.
Yeah.
And so then we met up at the Family Feud, and you were like, hey, I don't think we met. I'm Suzi. I'm like, I know who you are,
You're
Suzi
like,
Barrett.
I know everything about you.
I'm like,
my sworn enemy who stole my blessing that turned out not to be my blessing.
Right?
Yeah,
it was yours. What is for you will not pass you by.
Ooh, yes. I want to talk about, there's so many things in there that I want to unpack. But just to close the loop on the Family Feud thing. So for a while they were doing like, I don't know if they still are, but like themed teams. And because Disney and ABC are in the same family, they were like, okay, we'll do one team that is the family from Mixed-ish.
Yes.
And then more of a stretch was my team, which was just all different Disney moms.
Yes.
From all different shows and eras.
Yes.
One of the most cool things I've ever gotten to do. It absurd.
Was a fun show.
Yeah, it was so fun. And it's like, did you find it to be just one of those surreal moments where you're like, wait, I'm on a show that I watched in childhood and now like it's supposed to be like Celebrity Family Feud. I did not feel like a celebrity.
It was Celebrity Family. We should say that. It was Celebrity Family Feud. Your team though was jam-packed. You had Raven Simone.
Yes.
Caroline Ray, who came up to me and said, hi, I don't think we've met. I love it when people who are absolutely so friggin' famous walk up to you and they're like, hey.
Hi, I'm Barack Obama. I'm not sure if we've met. I guarantee we haven't.
Yeah, it's like, come on, man. But she said, hey, I'm Caroline Ray. And then someone was like, Caroline Ray, America's sweetheart. And I just was like, what an introduction. And I was like, I'm just Christina Anthony. I have nothing to put behind it.
I have no subtitle.
Yeah. Who else? There were some more moms on there.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm reaching deep into my brain.
Was Heather Ann Campbell on there?
She was not.
No, okay.
Rebecca Metz.
Yeah.
Wonderful person who I also need to get on the pod. And I can't remember who else, but do you want to know some like gossipy inside from that? Not, I hope it's not like crappy. No. But Caroline Ray, so Raven was our captain.
Yes.
And Caroline Ray, before the show, we were all kind of like huddling up and like, what's our strategy and blah, blah, blah. And she was like, I hosted Family Feud in Canada for years, so I know how people answer, and I'm gonna know all the answers. And she just like set this precedent of like it all goes through me. And Raven was like, "Well, I think
that's not America's sweetheart behavior."
You know what I mean? America's steamroller,
right?
And Raven was like, "Oh, I'd love to have it be like we all contribute ideas and blah blah blah." So it gets to the thing, and Caroline is steamrolling, and we're in the huddle, and she's like, "Yeah." And
who knew?
Who knew?
Our side was chaos.
Oh,
they were like, keep it clean. And I'm like, why is everybody looking at me? And they're like, both of you, to me and Gary Cole, we're like, what? We've never done anything bad.
Right. What do you mean keep it clean to me? Tell Mark. Yeah.
They're like, you're such a, I didn't do anything on the show, but I think they were like, don't go off the rails. It's a family show. But I also was like, I was so in awe. It's such a good show. Yeah. Usually tapings are like, it's a grind.
Right.
That show was actually very entertaining.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
And they kept it moving.
Yeah.
Part of it, too, was like you could tell Steve Harvey's like, I've done 500 of these today. Yeah. We're going to move right on through.
We're going to move right on. He had his bits ready.
Yep.
It was great.
He was great. It was really amazing to watch him work. Like watch him just grab an audience, hold an audience, be quippy with the guests. But there was one answer where it was hinging on it was like our final strike, you know? And we all, as a team, we voted on the answer. And then Caroline's like, I'm telling you, it's blah, blah, blah. And she changed it. So Raven at the last second changed it. And
to agree with Caroline?
To agree with Caroline, who like out of the huddle was like, I'm telling you, it's blah, blah, blah. I don't remember what the thing was. And Raven's like, okay, we'll say blah, blah, blah. And then Caroline goes, who said that? Why would you say that?
Oh my goodness. There needs to be an investigation. So just so your listeners know, you guys end up losing.
We lost.
And
that
we
was
won
the thing
because
that lost
we
it.
had one child on our team because Mix just has kids on it. And our kids were too little, but they let the one teenager, she could come on the show.
Keep it clean.
Keep it clean. And she won the show for us, but it seems like Caroline Ray won the show for us.
I mean, she really, she gave you an assist. You get credit because you guys had some smart answers too.
Wow,
there's
knew?
An epilogue to the story.
Oh boy.
Cut to a year ago, I'm doing an ASCAT at UCB and Caroline Ray is the monologist.
No, she isn't.
She is. And she introduces herself to me in the green room, and I did the thing that I hate when people do this, like we've already met, but I had to because the context was so weird. I was like, oh yeah, you probably don't remember, I don't remember everyone who was on our team, but we played like a weird Celebrity Family Feud thing. She goes, oh yeah, oh I remember that. Oh, Raven really sold us out and lost the game for us.
Oh no, she didn't.
And two of my friends were in that green room who knew the story from when it happened, and they both went, oh! But yeah, that's her narrative.
Oh, justice for Raven, because she's, from what I hear, she's a great person.
She's great.
What you're saying, it really pans out for me. I think Caroline Ray is not America's sweetheart.
Not America's sweetheart.
The nerve.
And Raven is America's noble, gracious teammate, noble, gracious captain. But I share that story here publicly as justice for Raven.
Yeah. And I feel like I don't know where it's going to go from here, but I want to say I stand with you.
Thank you so much.
I was there and we had no idea what was going on.
Isn't it funny?
In the huddle.
In the huddles.
But if you guys, maybe some of your listeners want to go back and check out Celebrity Family Feud. I don't know what episode it was. But it's Mixed Dish versus Disney Moms on Hulu.
Check it out and see if you can find the moment where that happens.
You can see it.
Oh, let's reverse to the beginning of your improv journey. Okay. Did it start in Chicago? You're from Chicago.
Oh, I'm from East St. Louis.
Okay.
Which is like 5 hours south. St. Louis, the Arch, that whole thing. And I went to school.
Also great theater scene there.
Maybe. I don't know a ton about
burgeoning
it.
Theater scene,
burgeoning, yeah. I mean, they had the Muni in Forest Park, and I remember seeing those commercials when I was little. Meet me at the Muni in Forest Park. Never been.
Not the other Munis. Don't go to the other parks.
Yeah. I've never been. Too expensive. But meanwhile,
they blew all that money on their jingle and they're trying to get their money back with ticket prices.
Yeah, the tickets are too pricey. But yeah, I grew up like watching like everybody else, Carol Burnett and watching like Laughing, and You Can't Do That on Television. And so I wanted to do this, but I went to school, to college, and my parents were like, we're first generation out of segregation. You got to get a real major.
Yeah.
And so I had friends in theater and comedy. And actually my first comedy show I ever did was a lie. My friends and I, we were seniors in college, and one of my friends at U of I in Champaign, everybody kind of came from Chicago. And so she said, this weekend while I was back home in Chicago, I went and saw a bunch of people doing, it's like a bunch of stand-ups at once at Second City. And I'm like, what? Now, this description, what she saw was a sketch show. But if you say I saw a bunch of stand-ups doing a comedy show at once, it sounds like it's like 6 mics in a row,
right,
with people. And I was like,
saying jokes at the same time.
Yeah, I'm like some weird spoken a cappella comedy show. But I'm like, okay, girl, we're all like, wow, this sounds crazy. And she was like, and it was amazing because they were asking the audience, what should we do jokes about? And I'm like, okay. And she's like, let's do that. And so now across campus, the white kids probably were already doing improv. I mean, it's the 90s.
Yeah.
And they're fully aware of Saturday Night Live and Kids in the Hall and all of this stuff, right? We have no idea what this stuff is. We know Eddie Murphy and we know what Saturday Night Live is, but we don't know how to get there. And so she's like, this is the way to get there. I saw pictures of people from Saturday Night Live in there. And I'm like, what? This is crazy.
This like secret society with like a back door to SNL?
Yeah. Okay. So we're like, this is what we're going to do. And this is all theater kids, musical theater kids, dancing kids, like comedians. And so we get together and there's a talent show at our school. And we're like, we want to enter the talent show. We're an improv group. And they're like, okay, great. We enter the talent show. And so she goes, we need to have rehearsal. And I'm like, okay, I don't know how you rehearse improv. But she goes, so this is what we're going to do. Christina, you're like a lady who is going to be selling stuff, like just like selling earrings on the street. Like, you want to buy this? You want to buy something? And this guy over here, like, you're like a guy who's walking around, you're in a wheelchair, but you use your feet anyway. So it's like, why are you in this wheelchair? And we're all in the subway. And then like, I'm playing a singer. And so we plan out all this stuff and we're like doing bits and people have jokes. And then she goes, this is perfect. And so we go to the talent show and they're like, up next, I think her name was Those Damn Kids, TDK. And they're like, up next is Those Damn Kids, an improv group. And we get out there and she goes, hey, everybody, we're an improv group. You can tell us anything you want to see a joke about. Tell us anything and we can do it. And I'm like sweating because I'm like, that
wasn't the agreement.
That's not what we did. Remember, I'm supposed to play a lady selling jewelry.
Right.
And he's in a wheelchair.
He rented that wheelchair. It was expensive.
This is very confusing. And so she goes, tell us anything. Tell us any place in this world.
You're not in a subway and you're doing anything but selling jewelry. Go.
So people start yelling stuff. And they're like, yeah, doctor's office, my professor's office. And she goes, I heard subway. And so we come out and we improvise this scene in air quotes. And we improvise this scene and we do it and we kill, right?
Oh, great.
We get into
what a rush.
They're like, we got to book you again. This is the best improv show ever. People are coming up to us. They're like, you guys could be on Saturday Night Live. Like, you're killing it. And I'm like, Erica, we cannot do another show.
We can only do it for other audiences. This audience can't know that this is our only bit. And there's no way we can think of other characters or locations.
But really, I realized, I'm like, oh, wow, what we were doing was improv to sketch, and we had created a sketch. But we didn't know, like, because first of all we knew was 6 stand-ups doing comedy at one time.
Right. Yeah, and you hadn't seen it.
And we hadn't seen it.
I have to give you credit, though, that, like, well, first of all, doing it and having not seen it is a real bravery. Like, that takes a lot of courage to be like, okay, I kind of know what it is. I'm going to go in front of an audience and just fake like this is what we already are and sell it.
Yes.
Cool. So you already have like the soul of an improviser even before you took a single improv class.
Yes.
Kudos. But then also like you were improvising. Like you didn't have scripted lines. You had like kind of an outline of who you were going to be, but you're still improvising.
Yeah, it was the game where you're like just obsessed with one thing. This person, like, what's your thing? Yeah. So that's really what we were playing.
Yeah.
But I mean, knowing that no one yelled Subway.
Yeah.
To say, I heard Subway.
I heard Subway. Yeah.
And also we were playing to an audience. It was a Black student union, right? And so we were also playing to an audience who maybe also wasn't familiar with what improv, the types of comedy that are out there. It just wasn't, it had not been distilled for us, these very specific types of comedy.
Yeah. A girl who was at that show goes back to her dorm and she's like, I saw the coolest thing. It was like 3 stand-up comedians and they ask you to name a bunch of places and then they do a scene in a subway. It was so cool.
It was amazing.
We all got to shout random stuff like laundromat and space station, and then they did this cool scene in a subway.
No, also it was like 2,000 people. We were in the biggest, one of the biggest auditoriums. Also, who's doing improv in a 2,000 seat house?
I mean, yeah, it was wild.
Yeah, it was a thing. And then, fast forward, I go to Chicago and I'm kind of like doing black box theater, musical theater. And someone says to me, you're very funny. And like some of the singing and dancing, it was getting way above like what I could do. And I was still getting into shows because they're like, you just are fun to be, it's fun to have you here. And someone said, hey, you should check out the Second City because I really think you would enjoy this. And so
so this is now the second time this was the first friend mentioned Second City, right? So now this is the second time this has appeared. Yeah.
And the person, and I was like, nah, I don't know. And so she says, this lady, Claudia Wallace, very great improviser.
Oh, yeah, she's great.
Yeah. She says she's teaching this workshop, actors how to improvise and build characters, and I think it would be great. And they're specifically looking for Black people, all kinds of people, but Black people for sure. And so they give me an address and I just go to this address, right? Like, I don't have the internet because I'd have to go to the library to see it because I don't have a computer. And so I just go to the address. And I remember when I walked up to the building, it looked like a bank. There was like these like different bus heads of people on it. And it had like these pillars and archways. And I'm like, what is this? This doesn't even look like a comedy club. And so I go inside and someone asked me, they're just kind of like, Second City notoriously at that time didn't have a front desk. It just was, you just walked in.
kind of walk into a lobby. Yeah.
And I walk in, I'm like, I'm just trying to like find like where this class is. And they're like, classes are in the school, you're in the theater. And I turn around and I see all these pictures, the pictures that Erica, my friend, had told me about.
Yes.
I see the Belushis. I see Gilda Radner. And I'm like, oh my gosh, is this the place? These are people from SNL. And so
that
I'm like,
room, there was something special about walking up those creaky steps into that room where like the bar was in the lobby and all of those photos, and it feels hallowed.
Yes.
It's like, oh, I'm in the like Hogwarts library or something. Like it does feel very magical. Yeah.
And so I said, I'm looking, and I think I had her name. I was like, I'm looking for Claudia. And they're like, oh, okay. And they take me kind of like down this hallway through these offices, and I find her, and we take this class, and there's a bunch of other actors there who are very good. But I knew that night I was really taking to it. And so a couple of weeks later, I get an email from Kelly Leonard. He's like over the Second City. He's the president maybe or something.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, we're having auditions for the touring company. And I'm like, okay, great. That sounds great. Sure. I auditioned for the touring company. And
wait, he called you just based on your work in that class?
In that class. Maybe Claudia said like, I think this girl might have it.
Yeah.
And so
awesome.
Yeah, it was amazing. I go to the audition, and mind you, remember, all the improv training I have is I heard Subway. Girl, I got in that audition and it was a mess. I mean, people were coming out there and they were just like, I'm a mushroom. I'm also a mushroom. We're headed to Mars. And I just remember walking out and being like, the zoo is closed. And the lights would go out every time. I was like, why did they do that? That was crazy.
Yeah, why do they keep turning off the lights? Because we were
in a classroom when I was working with Claudia, and I haven't had any classes. I don't know what this is. So then they go to another. They have you come back out again, and they're like, okay, you two, come on out. And we come out, and like everybody grabbed a chair, so I grabbed one, and we sit in the chairs, and I remember they had put 4 chairs together, and now I know what all this is, but I came off the back line and I took a chair and then I just stuck it. Like, what car do you know has 4 chairs and then just one random person?
Now we got to make it a sidecar.
Is it a sidecar? Am I in a motorcycle?
Is it an extra big Hummer?
But I didn't know to do all that because I didn't know what object work was. So I was like, I'm in the car too. Y'all not gonna leave me behind. And it just, so it was a mess. It was a mess. And I got an email then, later from Kelly the next day. He goes, because they were all there at this time. They watched the auditions. And so he goes, okay, so you're not ready for the touring company, but we like where you're headed. And so we want to offer you, let's take you through the classes. We'll teach you how to improvise.
Great.
Teach you how to write sketch and, go through Second City. So I enrolled. And then they were like, hey, the classes, here they are. Here's what's available. And I was like, I can't pay for this. I went to college and I still am paying for college.
Yeah.
And the reason I didn't go to art school and major in acting is because my parents told me to get a real job. So I'm going to go get a real job. And thank you. It was so great meeting all of you. And he basically came back. They came back and they're like, okay, look, you could work a couple hours in the office. I was like, I can't do that. I need to go get a job, And so we worked it out where I would take classes at night while I worked my job during the day. And pretty much I learned as much as I could. And I learned a very specific style of improv.
Describe it.
Which is improv to sketch or table work to sketch, where you're sitting and thinking up ideas, and you're learning. Really, the heart of it is relationship, right? And so it's not fast paced. It's not game. Right. It's not even initiation, because sometimes you can be given every single parameter and then now we're going to sit down to the table. Today, we are creating characters that work at the museum that we toured last night. We would take field trips.
Oh, that's
and
cool.
Observe characters. I think they still do that on SNL. Observing people on the subway, observing people at the museum.
Talk to me about that. I want to continue on the story you were telling, but I want to take a quick detour.
Yeah.
So describe that to me. Like if we were going on one of these field trips, so you go to like the Chicago Art Institute or whatever, do they give you an instruction, like find someone who looks like the opposite of you, or do they just say like walk around and observe?
Just walk around and observe. And they may be more specific now, but at the time we were just kind of making observations. And in that was what we were really was finding were character, right? And finding whole people and seeing how people react in the same space but are very different.
Yeah. So you're looking for not just how someone holds their posture or whatever, but how they're relating to the person they're with. Or like you're looking for also like emotional content and
how they're relating to the space, right?
Yeah.
A tourist who has come here from Sweden may react differently to the Art Institute in Chicago than the security guard who came here from the South Side, and this is her last shift of her last week on the job. We're going to behave differently in the space, and differently from a dad who has brought too many children, on this field trip. We're all interacting with the same four walls in a very different way. And then the people we are with, I think the interaction you're having with them is also weighted, right? Because the way the security guard talks to another security guard is way different than the way she talks to the tourist who is here from another town, from another country. And so just learning that, like, how we can all be in the same place, but we have different reactions to different things, different relationship, and just really learning relationship and also slowing things down, because eventually I do go on a tour for the second city. I do book the job. It takes a while, but I get it. And then I do go on to, understudy some places and, for Claudia and for Naima Funk and for Amber Ruffin. And then I eventually do get a job myself on the ETC.
Wonderful.
Which is at the second city is for the more, I don't think it's that way now, but when I was there, it was for the more reckless, unpredictable people.
I loved the ETC shows.
We were a little rough around the edges, but
it could be seen as like just as skilled and just as brilliant.
It is.
But with less guardrails and constraints.
Yes.
I called it Second City After Dark.
For sure.
It was like
For sure.
R-rated Second City.
For
Because
sure.
you could do your more like dangerous ideas or the like more fun. It wasn't as like tourist palatable as the main stage.
No, and it definitely was not the first thing that was sold, right? They were like, hey, come see classic Second City style comedy, and Second City over the years has become even more commercial. But I would say back at that time, the ETC, it stood for Experimental Theater Company.
And I didn't know that.
It definitely, And so I definitely, I think the year I was there is when it really changed to, this is just two of the same thing.
Yeah. This is just, we didn't have enough room on the main stage and too much talent.
Yeah. And you used to move up to the main stage. And I remember they didn't offer that to me until I moved away to LA. But I never felt any type of way about it. People were like, you're not moving up. And I'm like, I like it here. This is a great schedule. You still did 8 shows a week, but it was Thursday through Sunday. And or maybe you did 6 actually. So you had Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday off. You could still kind of live a life. But I loved it. It's a commercial product, but I learned relationship. I learned how improv to sketch, how to transcribe, how to not lose your work because they recorded you every night.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
What did you learn in that process?
I mean, so the infamous process, you'd have to write a 2-hour show. And, looking at it from the outside in, coming into a blank binder of nothing and being like, you guys need to come up with a 2-hour show that we're going to sell for 67. I think the tickets are like $75 now or something. I think it's intimidating to be like, what do I have to bring? You know, we're starting from scratch.
And there's only 5 of us. And
there's
how
five,
are we gonna,
I think
six.
Yes,
yeah.
5 or 6. And they do bring you from all walks of life. In that sense, I think it is different from like an IO or a UCB, right? You are put together by producers. It's not necessarily as organic as some, like my improv group I'm in now, Black people. You are kind of cobbled together like a kind of Voltron of comedy. And each person brings a certain skill set.
It's like a boy band.
It's exactly like that. And so and then later when people are like, the boy band, you guys aren't all best friends now? It's like, well, no, we were like, it's like, it's not a forced, not arranged relationship, but it is in a way, right?
Yeah.
And so when I came to it, I came in with people who I had one person who was like, I was born, they called me Little Gilda when I was born. And I was like, I don't even know who that is, And then you had other people that were like, I've been going to improv camp at Second City. My parents would drive me here from Michigan every week. And you're like, yeah, that's not me either.
You're like, I one time pretended I knew how to improvise and just
No, I haven't told that story. I mean, I came out with that one today. But
thank you for your vulnerability.
Thank you.
Thank you for your service.
But yeah, I think I came from, and then there was also, I think I was perceived as coming from theater, but when I was in the theater, they were like, you're wild. You need to go to improv.
We don't know where you came from.
You're crazy. And then the other thing that was, I think that now I can reflect on and I didn't understand then, which I understand now, was when I would improvise, something that I did learn, I worked hard to bring characters that were in their world, of the world of the people I was working with, when in reality, it was fine. And I guess I'm telling your listeners, I'm telling myself, it is fine to bring the people that you know. And so my default, the reality is if I say good morning, everyone, and we walk into this kitchen of our home, everybody who's sleeping upstairs is probably Black. Why would they all be white? That makes, like, I don't know why that would be. And so then it is up to you, improviser, who might not be Black, to either be Black or justify why this white person is at my kitchen table when I just walked down here. Because I think it is normal. It is normal. But I realized the default setting when I was at the Second City was everyone here is white. The people we can see and the people we can't see. Everybody who works at this office is white. If we're working at a school and you are a teacher, I assume the principal is white and these students are white.
Right.
And really it should be, if there's the 2 of us on stage, especially as we are building something improv to sketch, especially for improvising, if there's 2 of us on stage and I initiate first, you have to assume that you are just a white person working at this Black school.
Right.
And that's up to you to deal with.
Right.
It's not up to me to make sure that you're comfortable.
Yeah, you're not the other in this scene if you initiate it. This is your planet.
Yes.
Now I am the new teacher or whatever. Because, I mean, and this is where we get into like the nuts and bolts of why it is so important to have diverse casting across the board and not just one of this and one of that.
Yeah.
Because in no world would you or I or the audience ever want me as the second character to suddenly play, quote, a Black character. Like, that's not for me to play. But, so.
I mean, you can stretch yourself. But so many times Black improvisers are asked to be not white, but I would say whitewashed or to be neutral, you know? And if we're really going to get real, is this the Get Real podcast with Suzi Barrett? Okay, so this is why you booked me. I would say oftentimes I had felt the pressure, and I do see things changing every day, every season, every decade. But this idea of like, what I perceive to be absolutely culturally relevant to me, to kind of not bring that up. Yeah. And I think that you lose so much when you do that, right?
Yes. Yeah. And what I'm saying is like, having like racially, ethnically diverse teams that have many of each type, you know, allows for scenes like that. I truly don't feel, and you know, maybe in the 90s I would have felt differently, but like I would never feel comfortable or okay just like playing like I'm a black character. That's being very real. Like, and especially now, it's like, oh, that's like, to me, like, you immediately canceled. Like, what are you doing? That's not your story. That's not your, you know.
Yeah, and I don't think it's necessarily about playing a black character, but I think also finding the commonalities that you might have
Totally
in the black experience. And I do think especially white female improvisers are now seeing that. They're like, oh my gosh, these white guys are stepping on our necks.
Yes.
We better stand up for ourselves. And I do see see many people, I think, improvising from the place of other. That's all I'm asking. It's not to say like, hey guys, we need to be, it seems like you guys are on the margins. It's to say, my sister, you were also on the margins too.
Yeah.
Because before they had one black person in this improv troupe in Second City in this sketch show, it was just one white woman. You know, like your Elaine Mays and Joan Rivers, all these people, it was one and done.
Even
and it's like
through my generations of like classes and Herald teams.
Yeah.
Truly. Yeah.
It's like you're fighting. Remember when you were fighting for that, and now how vocal you are? Like I feel like if I walked into a place now and I went to a show and it was 5 guys and 1 woman, I feel like the white women in the audience would burn that theater down. They're like, oh, no. The suggestion is equality. And I love that, right? Yeah. Because you're using your privilege and your power in that space then opens the door for me to say the same.
Yeah.
So that then when we are doing a scene, and this is a tangent, but
let's take it.
The feeling of like, I need to know more about your culture so that I can improvise in the same world that you're living in. I think that's all some black improvisers want. Mm-hmm. And so that's why it's important to have these all black teams, right? Because the power to talk to another black person on stage, doing improv, comedy, social satire, political satire in this day and age is a gift that you guys have always had.
I know.
And that's the only thing. And that was something I brought up the Second City when I left. They said, what could we have done better? And I said, man, you could have just let me talk to another black person on stage. That's it, you know? And they did, and it has gotten better, right? And so the same way women are allowed to talk to each other on stage without men being there, now we do have black people able to be on stage at this very commercial type theater, talking about things that are important to them.
Right.
And I'm not asking you to be black, although I did write a sketch and somebody was black in it, because I'm like, I need to talk to a black person about this. I'm not asking you to be black. I'm asking you to put yourself in my position and align yourself, be more than an ally, be an accomplice, and be like, yeah, like, let's get into the weeds with this. And this is the bulk. This is relationship, right? This is way different than I feel like what's happening like at an IO was at IO or at a UCB. Like, this is not the quick game, come off the back line, initiate very quickly type of thing. This is where we're really getting into the long form of things.
Talking into the true relationship, the humanity of it, the slice of life, the world building, or the personal world building.
Yeah.
Just because I really want to like parse this out and talk about this like on a practical level.
Yes.
So like, let's say you initiate a scene as like, you use the example of like you're a black teacher at a school. And if we're doing what you're talking about, which is like I'm in the meat of that with you and I'm in the world, but I'm playing white, like character wise, do you mean like that is all it is about like me aligning my point of view with you? I'm not like finding your opinions unusual or calling you out. I'm in the world, but I am a white character so that I'm not like appropriating something, or like, is that what we mean?
Yeah, I think that's one way to take it. I think there's also a very interesting thing. I love studying like clowns and status, and the idea of, let's say we are both, I initiate that we are working at a school and I am a teacher. Why do you presume that the school that everybody doesn't look like me, a Black person, and two, maybe I'm your principal. Right. Why do you assume status equal to, or that I'm equal to or less than you? Right. And I think that's another thing that can happen, which I think just simply reflects from you improvise what you know, right? I think it's hard to improvise talking to a Black boss and telling jokes if you've never had a Black boss. It is hard for you to come up and do an improv scene about signing a lease if you've never had a Black landlord. Of course you're going to be like, hey, can you help me find the landlord, Keisha? Ma'am, I am the landlord. This is my building. But you haven't had this experience in your life.
Right.
Of course it doesn't feel real to you.
Well, and you're speaking to like, this is where improv really at times reflects the shortcomings of a cultural zeitgeist.
Yes.
Because I've also never been a pirate, but people have no problem going like, "Arr," and jumping into that scene.
Yes.
I don't know what it's like to be a dog, but I sure have like sniffed a butt and lifted my leg on stage.
Yes.
So this is where like it really does become a mirror of like people's own like mental blocks. It's like, I've never had a Black landlord, but I've also never had a female landlord. But like, why would it be an easier leap to see the white woman as my landlord? Yeah. So here's where, the opening of minds and possibilities. I do see it happening. I do see the needle moving.
Yeah.
But I have a different vantage point than you. It's not like it does have so far to go. And I hope people listening kind of reflect on their own, I don't know, limitations or go-tos, or this is where stereotypes show up. It's like the old riddle, like the doctor was his mother, and it's like that was a riddle because it's like no one could think of a woman being a doctor.
Yeah.
It's like we need to accept and know that everyone is everyone and anything can be anything, and apply that to improv in the way that we believe 4 Black chairs are a spaceship on stage. Like why can we make that leap? I can understand how frustrating. I even get frustrated when I try to play a man on stage and people like regender me as a woman. I'm like, no, I was being your dad. I said I was your dad. It's like, let's make the leaps past what we think things are.
Because I think there's, again, listen, we're here to sell, are you here to sell jokes? Are you here to sell relationship? Are you here to sell reflecting America's politics? There's so many things. Like some people are like, I just want to do the comedy show. I don't want to go that deep. And so sometimes too, that's why I have necessarily, for me, it was necessary to take my improv and my comedy skills, and I frequently change mediums, and I leave a certain medium when I don't feel like this isn't my jam anymore. So the time that I'd seen you when we did an improv show maybe a year ago, I hadn't done improv in years, and
it didn't show.
Oh my gosh, I thought I did. I came home and cried to my husband. I'm like, no, I was so bad. And I was there with Suzi Barrett, the dean of improv.
Dude, I mean, that night I was like, you got to come on my pod. Like,
but I can't remember. I don't know if it was, I can't remember who it was. Someone we did a scene with, though. We did a scene and we were at college or something. And the college was it was an HBCU.
Yes.
And that person, I had played with them many times. I think it was Brad. It was either Brad or it was Andy.
Andy St. Clair,
okay. So Andy and I had been on the ETC together, and Brad Morris and I had toured together for many years. And so they know my moves, and they know they have been ministered to about don't make assumptions about who we are and where we are if we've initiated until I've initiated. And that's also a reason why I tend not to initiate, right? Because I'm like, y'all are going to do what y'all are going to do. And, if you guys want to be two marshmallows operating on this banana, that's fine. I'm just going to come in here with my clipboard and say, the hospital is closed, and walk out. I like to be the voice of reason simply because sometimes I'm like, I can't be a part of this.
Yeah.
We're
not going to be a marshmallow today.
It's my nightmare. And I know there are people that can play it so elegantly. Look, I know some people are like, I did not come on here for race pod, but for race prov. But I have to say, the same way I enjoy talking about racial and socio-political issues, especially in improv, and I have no fear, my greatest fear is having to play an inanimate object and personify it.
You're racist against objects.
I am.
Wow.
You want to talk about one way to make me never come back is just to you want me to never ever come back and do a show with you again?
Name you as a houseplant.
Baby, I heard we're all ferns. Man, get out of here with that. We got too much going on in this world. Come on, man. Really? I'm a fern. But then over time, also not only do I hate it, every time I've then been like, you know what? I'm going to stretch myself. And I'm going to come out here and I'm going to be uncooked pasta and I'm going to initiate, because the location was Italian restaurant. And I was like, anybody can come out here and be a waiter. Anybody can come out here and be an old grandma that's making the pasta. But I'm going to be uncooked pasta. Every time I have initiated and tried to be something inanimate and tried to do something different, it went on too long. People just piled on and piled on and piled on. And I'm like, guys, who's going to call lights? Somebody run across here. Stop this.
And now you're all stuck because you're uncooked. You can't move.
Oh, no, I'm uncooked. I'm just raw.
Yeah.
No, I'm raw. I'm fresh pasta.
I'm picturing in the box. Yeah. So you're floppy raw. Yeah.
No,
but either way, yeah,
it's just a mess.
Yeah,
that is my nightmare. So yes, to the person who's like, I don't want to improvise with Christina Anthony because she's gonna come out there and be like, Bishop Debsden Tutu, hello, how are you today? You know what? I'm just as afraid of you coming out there and being like, well, hello, Peaches the dog. I would want to. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. There's nothing I hate more, and the reason I hate it is because I cannot do it. And I am in awe of the elegance that people bring when they're just sitting there and you're watching the scene. And even you get a lump in your throat and you're like, my God, that was two thumbtacks talking about their child. A push pin and how different they are, but same.
So yeah, that's my question for you is like, there's even a block there or a hatred of it, even if you map over like genuine human relationships. Yeah. So it's like a dog and a cat talking politics. Can't do it. It's just too dorky. It's not that cringy.
I don't know what it is. I just can't take it. And it just, it's like fingernails on a chalkboard. Yeah. It's like, I just can't. And I also know that maybe because I didn't grow up in a playful life. I didn't have like that kind of world where I play that way, but it does feel better to me. It feels safer for me when I'm watching this person being like, hey, I'm an easy chair, but I'm a stool. Could we marry? I feel better coming in and being like, my name is Martin Luther King. Love is love. And I know that I want to communicate to them, I get what you guys are doing, but I just don't have time for this.
I'm just going to participate in this way as a human being and end it.
Yeah. And not even end it. I mean, I'm also I welcome when people are like, Martin Luther King, have a seat. We want to talk to you. Could a chair and a stool be married? Will it ever happen one day? I'll finish the scene with you.
Sure.
What you're not going to do is then be like Martin Luther King, the Ottoman. No, I'm not an Ottoman. You know that I'm a man named Martin Luther King that fights for justice. Don't do that to me. And I will, if you do it, afterwards I'll be like, can I talk to you, Suzi? Because I thought things were going great till you knew I was Martin Luther King. Was there something I was doing that...
Are we in a fight? For part 2 of this episode, go to yesalso.supercast.com. If you like this podcast and you want double the content, head over to yesalso.supercast.com and subscribe. You can also help us out for free by subscribing to us on YouTube and talking us up to your improv communities. If you have a question that you'd like us to answer in one of our Q&A episodes, or a topic that you think would make a great bonus episode, put it in a 5-star review. If you're a theater who would like to host us for a live recording and improv show, let us know at yesalsopod@gmail.com. A very special thanks to our producer, Ryan Rosenberg, audio and video editor, Brian Kessler, and Britt, Faye, who does our marketing. Thanks for listening, and we will see you next week. No, we won't, Suzi. That's not how podcasts work. They won't even see us. They will listen to us, so it's actually the opposite of both things you said. Thanks for listening, and you will listen to us next week. Maybe. We don't know.